as Brittany Force and Clay Millican get ready to take to the drag strip. The Monster Energy Top Fuel drag strip. John Force Racing. Brittany completes her burnout, a two-time Top Fuel champion of the world, as the Schluter Systems dragster this week of Clay Millican. Jacobs Construction Parts Plus, always part of his program, the Summit Racing Equipment onboard camera. This onboard camera got punished yesterday as Clay Millican expired an engine violently.
Yeah, there's so many things that could cause this, but what you see is the raw fuel pouring out of one of the cylinders. That means that that cylinder is misfiring. There's an imbalance. The rest of the cylinders are over boosted. For Clay Millican, you can see at this stage it's out of power.
Let's go down to the starting line. Bruno, 2 weeks ago in your hometown, this week in mine.
Yeah, Brian, you know, for Clay Millican, the struggles of qualifying in that boomer you guys just talked about was a result of a head gasket that pushed out. Not where they wanted to be, but one thing he said that has been a pleasant surprise to this team is his reaction times. He said he's doing nothing different in terms of his performance as a driver. It's the way the car is set that has actually allowed the car to react quicker and make him look better. He said, you know what, at my age, I'll take anything I can get.
You take the win lights come whether you don't win it by a beauty contest, you win it by getting there first. The contest of elapsed time. Of course, that is the crew chief for Clay Millican, Jim Oberhofer. For Brittany Force, the only Top Fuel dragster that's ever gone over 340 miles an hour, and the conditions are there to maybe do it again. Little quiver of the tire. Look at this. Side by side, it is a 369 and 339.87. The second fastest run in the history of Top Fuel drag racing. And once again, the track speed limit, or the track speed record, has been leveled. We came in here, it was 334. Unreal.
She needed every bit of it. She had to catch up to Clay Millican, who got a nice little jump off the starting line, about 300ths of a second. And if you have a good ear, you could actually hear one of the cars rev the engine up. Brittany Force has a tendency to do that, and that's okay. She's depressing the throttle pedal. At times, it could overload the engine with fuel. If it's got more fuel, it could potentially make more power. That's not the case here, but you could clearly see the quicker reflexes for Clay Millican, and this was the best run of the weekend. It just came too little, too late against the wrong opponent.
The ultimate speed record for drag racing until a year ago was 339.87 miles an hour. That was set in 2017. Since then, we've reset it and reset it. That is the second fastest run in the history of Top Fuel. And this is what it looked like in the other lane, the Schluter Systems Top Fueler of Clay Millican. The wrong opponent at the wrong time, qualifying in the wrong position. Let's go down to Bruno.
You know, I just talked to David Grubnick real quick about that big speed we just saw, and he said, you know what, that wasn't what we were shooting for. The car ran off its mark. It should have ran better than that.
Brittany Force just told me off camera that that's exactly what they've been trying to do all weekend, and you hit it out of the park. How scared should your competitors be now?
Right now, you know, this Monster Energy team, we're in a really good position. We qualified 5th. We've been chasing that 69 all weekend. That was our goal in qualifying, and we always fell short. So to pull it off E1 first round, that works for us. That's okay, but we need to continue that all day long. We want 3 more win lights. We want to get this team into the winner's circle for the first time this season.
It was uncorked. That was Brittany Force's Top Fuel dragster in the first round, that 339 mile an hour speed. During the between round service, and for this week's Cornwell Quality Tools Crew Chief Confidential, we sent Jordan Vandegrift down to talk to the crew chief on this car, David Grubnick.
David Grubnick and Brittany Force just set a new track record going 339 miles per hour. David, how do you make this car go that fast?
Well, it's a byproduct of the conditions, really. We never tune the car for mile per hour. You know, we look at ETs and it's all about, you know, getting to the finish line first. So the mile per hour, like I said, is just a byproduct. So it's not in our tune-up model. It either happens or it doesn't. Thank you.
So Brittany's car rolls ahead next to Sean Reed. What does Reed have for Brittany Force here?
Well, at some point, Reed has a good car. He's out-qualified her. She out-dueled him by 300ths of a second in round number 1. So what they have to do is they have to strategize. They have to understand who is in the other lane. He has to be able to at least match her off the starting line. But at some point, if you want to get into those late rounds and be in that conversation, if you're Sean Reed, about winning a race, these are the races you're going to have to win.
And Brittany's car motoring past the 8th mile, 369, 338.26. Hey, David, it happened again.
It's a bonus. He'll take it all day long. And the reason that it runs big speed is everything's right. The way he has the clutch set up, how hard he accelerates the car early in the run, 298 miles per hour just within the first 660 feet. But he's finally tuned this car, fine-tuned the car to where the fuel system's right. These cars are equipped with a rev limiter. They will easily exceed 340, probably 350, but a rev limiter helps contain the speed as the car approaches the finish line, so he gets a very good run at it.
On the opposite side of the top fuel ladder from Brittany Force, potentially thankful composites machine. Composites, of course, doing a lot of work with many of these teams, but this is the final boss. Like this is like I mean, these are the two cars that have been resetting track records all weekend long. Brittany Force nearly running 340 miles an hour earlier today. Bruno has more on Brittany Force.
You know, Brian, you talked about the performance of these two cars. Brittany Force has run 369 in consecutive rounds here in eliminations. The thing is, if you look behind the numbers and talk to the team like I have, there's more in the tank. They dropped a hole on one of the runs in the first one, dropped 2 in the second. So if they can keep all 8 lit, there is a lot more performance left in the Monster Energy car.
And look, both of these teams, neither of them have won a race since last season.
And dropping a hole is a misfiring cylinder. When that happens, these cars or these engines will lose approximately 1,300 horsepower.
In the blink of an eye. And that may be what the differential is on the starting line as well. Doug Coletta, we talked to him earlier this morning. He talked about not overcomplicating itself, keeping a clear head on the starting line. Let's see what he does here against Brittany. And Doug Coletta smokes the tires, and Brittany Force into the afternoon goes 341.42 miles an hour. 300.53 in the 8th, and the crowd here is going absolutely ballistic. That is the second fastest run in the history of top fuel drag racing of anyone. Unbelievable.
There was a young lady named Bright whose speed was far faster than light. I'll tell you the rest of the poem, Brian, you probably know it, but they were up for the challenge. Doug Coletta had the best car coming into this round, and this team, this driver, stepped up to the plate.
Bruno Massel's down with David Grubnick.
David Grubnick, the crowd's going wild after seeing that 341-mile-an-hour run. I know you talk about it being a byproduct of your tune-up, but that is one heck of a byproduct.
Yeah, well, if you look at the 2 previous runs, it was putting cylinders out, and so we need the gas or the fuel to keep it under control, but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. So at that time, we took care of the fuel curve, so that doesn't surprise us.
One of the single-day great performances in top fuel history going on in front of us.
And you have to give some credit to Doug Coletta. He got the jump off the starting line, but it was very short-lived. You can see that power, those impressive runs they were making earlier, finally took its toll. Starting line just wouldn't hold it, but it would have been a handful trying to keep pace with Brittany.
And Tony Stewart has to race that. And that 338-mile-an-hour speed, that was nice and all, but listen, David Grubnick, this thing is making enough power to pull hell off its hinges here as it stages next to Doug Coletta and then lights the scoreboards up with the second 341-mile-an-hour run in top fuel history.
Yeah, it's a picture-perfect run. You can see the raw fuel pour out of the pipe, but that was beyond the finish line right there, and they get every bit of the power that they make when they run that kind of speed.
It's been a hot minute since this team was able to garner a victory. Amanda Busick went down to the pits to speak to Brittany Force.
Well, Brittany Force came into the weekend with the track speed record, and after a couple drivers tried to take it away from you, it is now officially back to yours at 341 miles per hour. And I had Tony Stewart at the top end just in shock at that number. How can that be an advantage in this final?
It just shows like this. It shows this team's strength all season long. We've been pushing really hard. We got that 341.59 in Charlotte, and then people have been asking me all weekend long, when are you going to do it again? And honestly, I didn't think it would be this soon. So to be able to do that here in Epping is pretty exciting. My dad won this race last year, so there's a lot on the line. We want to win here. This Monster Energy team is in a really good position to go from a 69s all day to a 68. To improve in the semis is also outstanding. So we're looking forward to this next round.
So Brittany Force has got a smile on her face for good reason. Comes in with loads of confidence. Look, Friday night here at New England the sound of the Monster Energy Top Fuel Dragster as driven by Brittany Force. And here comes Tony Stewart. The mechanics wear onboard camera for his burnout. Nobody in the history of this sport has ever had a faster aggregate day than Brittany Force. The 338, 339, and 341 runs are jaw droppers, but Tony Stewart is the story of this season so far, Bruno, as he is the guy with 2 victories on the year already.
Yeah, and that team is fully aware. We're talking to Neil Strasbaugh and Tony Stewart back in the lounge about that performance of that Monster Energy car. I said, what's the game plan? Tony looked at me and said, Neil's going to find me a couple hundreds. Neil looked at me and said, my driver's going to find me a couple hundreds. Otherwise, we're not bringing home the wallet here today, Jordan.
Brittany Force said stepping it up in the semis was huge for this team. There was a lot on the line in that round. And honestly, our goal for this year is to be ahead of where we were last year. A win here would prove just that. And oh yeah, John won here last year. I want to do it for Dad.
Well, Tony Stewart has the right mentality. He has the right mindset. He has the right approach to this matchup right here for Brittany Force. She has to stay steady and hope that her tuner is not going to lay up in this final round.
A fascinating final act here at New England Dragway to close out a memorable and very fast New England Nationals. Both cars are locked down. Header flames are up and down the drag strip. 369.4 and 340.39 miles an hour. Off the top rope comes Brittany Force for the win.
Well, Tony Stewart gave it his best shot. He did pretty much all the driver could do off of the starting line. It falls on the driver's shoulders when they leave the starting line. If they have to get off and on the throttle, let's hear what Jordan has to say with Brittany's crew chief.
David Grubnick, a truly historic performance in Top Fuel. How were you so good?
Yeah, well, you know, it has to be done more than once. So, you know, it's a relief. We've obviously had our struggles, but it's good to get a win in finally. But we need to keep doing it. It's, you know, the Tony Stewart, that group, they've had a stellar season so far. So we got a lot of work to catch up, but we'll keep working at it. Thank you.
7 thousandths of a second margin of victory at 340.39 miles an hour. The fastest Top Fuel winning speed in the history of drag racing. The fastest, maybe the greatest day we've ever seen out of a single Top Fuel car in the modern history of this sport.
Well, I think we're going to see more and more of this kind of racing. It's not just these two, but right now you have Tony Stewart. He's just racing like they are on offense. They want to keep that points lead. This is a big return, a big statement from this Brittany Force team, not just by the top speed, but by the muscle and the endurance and the fact that she's done a good job to get to this final round. But there's a lot of other drivers, a lot of good cars that are going to contend these two.
We now look at the Top Fuel points so far here in 2025. And with Brittany's victory, she moves herself to the 6th spot. Tony Stewart leads the field by 71. You can see Langdon, Brown, Coletta, Ashley Force, Torrance, and Milliken, the top 8 points runners right now. Let's talk to a woman who now has tied Shirley Muldowney with 18 career victories in her Top Fuel career, Brittany Force.
And as her team makes it up to the top, and on Friday, Brittany, you told us that a win was close, and after the semis, you told us that you wanted to get this win at the site of your father's victory last season. He just watched you win your 18th career Top Fuel Wally. Why are these wins different for you now?
This is just a big one. You know, his last win, the last time I stood in the winner's circle with him was here at this racetrack. So coming into this racetrack, I want to win here for him. So this win right here is dedicated to him. Everything he's done over the last year, it's been really tough, and we're so proud of him, and I'm just happy to have him out here with me. I need him out here with me. He's my biggest support system, and I want to say congratulations to this team right here behind me. This Monster Energy team, HendrickCars.com, Chevy, Cornwall Tools, Peak, and GRP. Thank you for standing by us. I knew we'd get back to this winner circle. I'm so proud of all these guys. David Grubnick, John Collins. We got back to the winner circle here in Epping. Woo!
An incredible day. This week's mission, that's a wrap. There's the winner's circle. What a race day. We'll see